Hello, and welcome to the Base, big and small screens. This week I'd like to talk to you about Galaxy Quest. That's right, Galaxy Quest, the wonderful little comedy sci-fi action movie starring Tim Allen, Sigourney Weaver, and the late great Alan Rickman. Among others, there's also Tony Shalhoub in here. Where is it? Tony Shalhoub, Sam Rockwell, uh, Daryl Mitchell, and I believe, I believe, uh, the head alien in this is the same actor that played Elias in Person of Interest. So there's an interesting connection. Now, what is it about? Well, it's basically about Star Trek, sort of. Uh, you've got this old TV show that was called Galaxy Quest, uh, and Tim Allen, Sigourney Weaver, Alan Rickman, Tony Shalhoub, Sam Rockwell. They all were actors that played these parts. And now they're going to conventions. So you got like the Star Trek conventions, back in the day when it wasn't super cool to be a Trekkie, when nerds were still stereotyped against. You've got this type of a situation. And everybody is like Tim Allen's character as an actor is, he's all like super happy to meet the fans and everything, but ends up overhearing a couple of people kind of making fun of him because they were like, it's like, doesn't he know that he's like, outdated and nobody cares about him anymore and blah, blah, blah. And he gets all upset about this because he was a very, not a super intelligent man by any stretch of the imagination, the character that he plays, but he was very charming and very endearing, and he kind of threw his heart into things. And to kind of have that slap back in his face, it was a bit of a blow to him. And then he ends up meeting that one actor that I mentioned that played Elias in Person of Interest, who is an alien because he meets him at a convention, and the guy's all dressed up like an alien and such, got like the makeup on and everything supposedly, and he was like, "We want you to come back to our ship," and blah blah blah, and he ends up going there, and they're actually aliens because they've received these broadcasted transmissions from like 20, 30 years ago, back when it was first aired, and all those transmissions went out into space and they've received them and they believe them to be historical documents. So they've taken those historical documents and built the actual ship that they had, complete with like weapons and all this good stuff. And yeah, him he ends up getting the rest of the crew, the rest of the actors, and they all get teleported to this other world, this other spaceship where it's all real, and they have to fend off aliens and do all the sorts of things they used to do in the show, except they have to do it for real. And it's wonderful comedy and some amazing on point observations of how things were back in that day when those type of shows, like when the original Star Trek was. Because Sigourney Weaver's character back in the original television show that her character played a part in, the only role she had was in repeating what the computer said. That was almost all she did in that show back in the day, because back when it was made, it would have been like, I think the 60s or late 60s, early 70s. And that was her role. So when they get on an actual real spaceship and they're up there and doing all this, she does the same thing. So there's a wonderful little moment when Tim Allen tries to stop her from repeating it, and she goes off on him. Basically like, this is my only job. This is what I do, and I'm gonna do it. And it's really amusing. And Alan Rickman's character being this British thespian who was doing Shakespeare on the stage, and he did this. Then there's interesting character arcs for him. Tony Shalhoub playing the engineer is fantastic because he's like so unflappable. The character just so mellow throughout the entire thing. Um, all in all, it's a wonderful comedy. It's one of the best comedies I have ever seen. And if any of you haven't seen it, you should. It is fantastic. It says like here, 4 stars, funny. I would give it 5 stars if it was me. If it was me, that is what I would give it. So yeah, as always, if you like what I'm doing, please give that like button a tap. Give that subscribe button a tap as well if you haven't already, so you can be kept apprised when I do new videos. Usually try and get at least one video out a week, if not more. And throw a comment in the comment section. Have you seen Galaxy Quest? What did you think of it? If you haven't seen it, go and give it a watch, and then come back and tell me what you thought of it. Do you know any other movies similar to this vein, sci-fi comedy, that you think I'd be interested in? Toss that comment in the comment section. Love to get a discussion going with some people. And until next time, check out Galaxy Quest. You might like it. And I'll see you next time.